So what we're going to do, because we're not formally set up yet, what I'd like to do is kind of start the meeting for you. And if you recall, are we running and taping and recording?
We should be good on ours.
Good.
Can someone
So,
speak up if you can't hear us? They won't be able to.
good point. So what I would like to do is call the meeting of the Open Space and Trails Advisory Board to order. It is 5:33 on Thursday, the 28th of August, right? 2025. You all got a copy of the agenda. Does anyone want to make any changes to the agenda? Patty, did you want to add something?
I was just wondering if people would be interested in adding to the mission statement, something about preservation of wildlife.
We can do that when we get there. But any new agenda items that we want to tack on to the agenda? Okay, good. The consent agenda, this is a little odd because I don't have chair or vice chair. We're going to do that in a minute. But I would need a motion to approve the minutes that were submitted in your packet and just a vote of yay or nay. And we'll take a vote.
Yay.
So approved as submitted.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. All right, so new business, finally I get out of running these things. I gave you a little bit of homework. No one called me. No one is knocking down my door to be chair or vice chair, but we need one. We need a chair and a vice chair. So any nominations?
I just want to make sure people can hear us. Do you want me to call roll so that the people online can
Yeah.
chime in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Yes.
know
My bad.
we're backtracking.
I forgot about.
Come on, you
this.
guys, you gotta take this responsibility from Lindsay. You can't have, we gotta,
Well, if I had a chair, that wouldn't.
you would have happened. I know, that's what I'm saying. You guys.
So, yeah, I apologize. Can you call roll?
Yes. Alan,
Yay.
Bernie,
Here.
Jack,
Ted,
Hey, you want to pass that down to Bert?
Patty,
Yes.
Ashley, Matthew,
Here.
Christie,
Oh, thank you.
Here,
Mia.
Christy. Here.
Thanks, Christie. Mia actually is trying to join. I'm emailing with her. Dan,
Yeah, Dan Johnson.
Dawn, Elle,
Yes.
Kayla.
Yep.
Christopher. And Zach. Oh, no, Zach
Yep, here.
and Kalina.
Good, as Lindsay kicked me off, I'll leave.
Again, sorry for coming out of order there. So back to chair and vice chair. Do I hear any nominations?
this is Ted Bactriell. I would like to nominate Jack.
Jack is not here.
Jack's not here to accept.
Jack is.
Oh.
So we used to elect officers for the rescue.
That's how we do it.
We could, well. Yeah, we really like a chair.
I'd like to nominate Paulina.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Thanks, Patty.
All in favor?
You don't have to.
Do I get to appoint my co-chair?
No, but you can make a nomination.
Nominate Zach.
Do I hear a second on,
Second that.
and we have a vote? All in favor? All right, That was, those were relatively painless. All right,
Thanks, Galena.
thank you. And we'll certainly help you. We're not gonna let you hang out and dry. Like, you know, if we see anything out of order, we'll help out. So don't worry. And the good news moment is, again, you're an advisory board. You're not gonna hear any quasi judicial or decision making. You will certainly provide recommendations that I will bring up to town council. With that being said, I forgot, sorry, Aaron. Aaron was appointed the council's liaison, and he will, he doesn't vote, but he will certainly can comment, and really his job is to bring back any comments or updates, if you will, to council, and I'll certainly assist with that as well. But that's your main role as a liaison for council.
Like you all, I'm really passionate about our trails and open space, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here for your community.
That's your speech?
Thank you.
No, thank you for being the liaison.
Short and sweet.
What do you want from me, Linda?
Perfect.
I rode my bike there.
Next order is election of RTAP representatives. And Jess is gonna kind of help us with that portion because that's what she did.
Yeah, I know I shared the RTAP documents for those that didn't get the chance to participate in any of the process, or maybe it's the first time you're hearing about it. As we continue on phase 3 of RTAP, we want to make sure that there are representatives of this advisory board who can attend those meetings regularly and then report back to everybody. It's a little bit too much to have 16 members involved in all of those meetings. So it would be great if we could have 2 volunteers that are able to attend. It's going to be at most a monthly meeting with RTAP, and then be able to report back to this entire body and kind of act as liaisons.
What's RTAP?
RTAP is the rural, yes, that was it. We're going to do better on acronyms. The Rural Technical Assistance Program. And it was a planning process that I did when I was a student before I started working here with the town and a team of other graduate students. And the planning process is centered around building out economic diversification and recreation in rural communities to kind of work towards garnering a community vision from community engagement, and then building out a 2-year community action plan that supports that vision. So we have the plan, and the ongoing work is the implementation of the plan. And that we have 2 years of support from CSU Extension, and now I'm here, and it's a great transition for me to be able to help through that as well.
And we're incredibly fortunate. And I think just the stars aligned, because a lot of what came out of RTAP absolutely adamantly fell into open space and trails oriented suggestions and concerns of the community. So I originally envisioned, before I knew RTAP was going to happen, that this board would be formed, but would really be focused on the comp plan, which it will. But I thought it was going to work with, there's going to be an open space and trails element of the comp plan. And I thought I was going to utilize you for solely that and work with accomplishing those goals, actions, and policies. But it turns out that we got very, very fortunate with regards to the RTAP process that kind of initiated that thought. So again, very, very lucky. We got a little ahead of the game with regards to identifying the issues, at least initial issues, and certainly some actions that the group at the time thought were important to implement. We can certainly build on that, but it's a good starting place with regards to your responsibilities, I believe.
How often do you meet? Do you do it virtually or when?
It's all virtual What we know for sure is that the
Can you
next
forward
meeting
me that
is
packet?
September
One of my
17th.
email, can you forward it?
From 2 to 3 p.m. That's the only meeting we know for sure here on out. It's not required that it needs to be a group that meets monthly. It could be every other month. It could be as needed. It's more about how much support is needed from CSU Extension and other RTAP resources to keep working on goals. And so if a monthly check-in is really what's needed, then that can be done. And if we only need to check in every 2 months, it's kind of going to be a little bit flexible.
Then also, I mean, so then you go to that meeting and then you just report back here?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and make sure that like what we're all doing here is shared with RTAP and that the goals of the RTAP that, I guess I should back up, some of the actions in the community action plan were assigned to this advisory board before it was formed. So there is some responsibility that we all have to completing those actions. And that's why we're going to discuss some of that in the meeting today. But that's really the goal, is to be a liaison between RTAP and this group so that we can make sure that those actions are working. And if they need to change, it came to discussion here, and then you can report back to RTAP and say, these are changing, things like that.
Are the meetings usually during the day?
They usually are, but that is also an option for discussion since it's not locked in yet.
And how many people do you need?
2 people would be great.
I'd be happy to do that.
I would too.
Great.
Sounds like fun. And anybody else wants to do it, you can do it instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no reason why, if either of you can't join, someone else can step in, or if someone's really interested in switching out, I think it's okay. I just don't want to inundate the RTAP meetings with a lot of trails and open space so that the other goals are also discussed. Great, thank you.
I love this group. I mean, see how that went with the reps as opposed to chair and vice chair? I mean, just step right up. So thank you very, very much. Very much appreciated. And Jess will be your lead person with regards to that process. I'll be in the background, but because she knows much, much more about it than I do. So
Got me in.
you did?
Yep.
Excellent. With that, I gave my agenda packet away. Oh, wait, I can pull it up. I'm sorry. Go.
Those 2, 3 on the 17th.
Yes,
If you forward it to me, you can have your paper back.
Did you get it? I did.
Yep, now I have it. Here you go.
Thank you. Paper. So next item would be, if you recall, the first and last meeting that we had, we gave you a little bit of homework. And that was, we drafted some language that we felt that was boilerplate, but certainly captured what we think your responsibilities with regards to your mission and vision. Obviously, we just wanted to give you something to build upon. We're not going to lock you in, but I would hope that you all reviewed it. And if you want to amend it, let's certainly amend it tonight. Not to say that it couldn't be amended again, but we want to make sure that the group as a whole concurs with the mission statement and the vision in which the board is formed. So.
Having participated in sessions in the business world, writing mission statements and vision statements, I told Jess this earlier, I think this is good. It's short, succinct, straight to the point, and I couldn't come up with anything else that was really needed, my opinion. what is
The
words?
intent was not to put words in your mouth, but to give you a starting
Yeah,
place. And
no,
It,
I understand.
we did this. It just, nailed it. We nailed it. But, Patty, you might have.
Yeah, I just
an
want-
additional suggestion.
Maybe just to the mission statement is that I'm adding something about wildlife preservation and having them on our front side as we do all this.
Does anyone have any issue with regards to adding, potential wildlife impacts or protecting wildlife?
Whatever you want to say.
Great idea.
Like it.
And also from an educational standpoint, you mean?
It could be, yep, for sure.
I love the addition of education. I love the addition of wildlife. I'm wondering if you could just expand on the stewardship, the way that it's leaning toward that in the mission and include those things there. Because when I think of stewardship, I think of those things as well as restoration of of water and land. So I didn't know. I guess I had assumed all those things were meant by stewardship, but I'd much rather have them word for word.
Yeah, so it'd be like, and stewardship of wildlife, water, parks, open space, trails, and recreational areas. Feel right, Patty?
Yeah, those are good.
I would like to build on that as well, and I think maybe this was what was intended, and maybe it is not, but I think waterways is important, and I don't know, but I'd like that to be part of the scope of this group. And then the other thing that I've wondered about is in terms of preservation, there's protection of wildlife from wildfires and other things, and I'm not sure if that falls in the scope, but I wanted to just kind of throw that out there as a consideration of that might also be in the scope of this group's purview.
So if I could add on that, I think it is appropriate for wildfire protection. But it kind of, you're not going to be directly related to that. That's going to be a separate program and it'll be addressed in our land use and development code once that gets developed. And I think it will be in the comp plan with regards to that. With that being said, certainly wildfire mitigation in relation to open spaces and trails and forest management would certainly be applicable. That's my 2 cents. So I would not have heartburn with some general language with regards to wildfire and protection.
And what about waterways? Is that like the Snake River? Is that like part of this group's purview or not?
Yes, that would be. And I agree that would be applicable.
And I think in the word stewardship, it opens us up for wildfire protection. And by adding wildlife and waterways in front of parks, I see adding fire mitigation separately to this, I think is not maybe appropriate, but being inclusive of the planning that we have. So when we're thinking about planning for waterways, it's, the actual engineering of the trail and its location to the waterway. And so I don't know, Ted, if you feel like that is encompassing that as a steward of open
Yeah,
space.
I think that's perfectly fine.
Thank you, Ted. Is there anyone else?
I want to echo the word education, because again, I think that is a part of stewardship, but it really opens up, I believe, an avenue that's critical to this.
I think that all these points are fantastic. In the name of conciseness, most of the additions have been prefaced with this falls, or this is a part of stewardship. all these things are part of stewardship, do we need to specifically call them out?
I don't think so. I mean, you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind, but I'm always, of the notion to give us more flexibility.
Sure. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, we'll redraft that and that will be in your next meeting's package just for review to make sure that we nailed it. What about vision? Vision statement.
I like it.
You good as is for the time being? Excellent.
I think the last statement, the connection with nature is really good.
I'd like to echo that. I think that's the best part, the connection to nature part. I'm curious if anyone has an idea about the word preserve. Does that cover everything or do we need restoration?
I'd say restoration as needed.
How about preserve and restore the environment?
That would certainly play into some of the public input we've gotten with regards to the Snake River water quality
Yeah.
and education in relation to the proximity. So that would certainly be consistent with what we're hearing, have heard and hearing from the citizens of the town.
Yeah, I was thinking of some sort of like sustainability in there too. So I do like preserve and restore because those two words to me kind of encompass sustainability, like sustainable recreation, those sorts of things. So once we put forth the effort to do something, it's like as self-sustaining as possible. And so that way we don't have to deplete resources moving forward into the future.
Yeah.
Everyone concur with that? Anyone have?
Like it.
Yeah.
Mine as well?
Yes, that sounds great.
Thank you. All right. Well, we will redraft both of these sections for your review for the next meeting.
I have a question.
Aaron?
Do you wish the vision statement to be inclusive where all residents enjoy? Does that need, do you want that to also say and visitors?
Talking back to the mission statement there.
Mhm.
Well, I suppose it's also in the mission statement, but it's also in the vision statement.
Yeah, it's in both. Maybe all recreationalists.
Hmm.
I like the idea of one word to be all inclusive instead of multiple.
Maybe you just take out the word residents where all can enjoy well maintained.
Yeah,
That's even
easy.
City at its best.
Taking words away.
Less is more.
And then in the mission statement, quality of life for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recreationists.
Just for all.
Oh, for all,
all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Really noted. We will make those amendments to the language. You all good? Next thing on the agenda.
My daughter started.
The next thing on the agenda are the bylaws. Again, you had that in the packet for your review. We are fortunate enough to have Jennifer Madsen, our town attorney, online if you have any questions with regards to the bylaws. Jennifer, do you have anything to add to what went into the packet?
The only thing to add, and I don't know if Jessica and Lindsay, you handed it out, but I did provide a one-page summary of the Open Meetings Act that's there, and please let me know if you have questions on that. And then also there should be a short summary of rules of procedure for you as well.
We're passing them around.
Are those on the portal as well?
They're not, no.
We want to just keep it here. Again, Kalina and Bernie. I'm sorry, Zach. It's really, I mean, everyone should review these, but it's part of it is really to help the chair and the vice chair, keep the meeting going and observe Bob's rules of order. So I told him we would give you a cheat sheet, and this is the cheat sheet you're going to get. And again, it's just really to assist you in running the meeting and also be aware of things you shouldn't be doing.
And for those of you online, we can email those to you later.
That would be great. Thank you.
The bylaws, what they do though is really govern how your meetings work, how they operate. If there's any questions as to, for example, terms or what officers do, those would be governed by your bylaws.
Again, staff will kind of, if we see something that's a little out of order or whatever, we'll notify you. What's that?
One of the things we wanted to talk about was the meeting frequency, because we left that open.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So in there is a blank with regards to the frequency and scheduling of the meetings. I did initially offer every other, as a suggestion, every other month to meet, at least initially. And did I say the fourth Thursday?
Yes.
And I think we all thought that the fourth Thursday was appropriate, I think, at 5:30. Does anyone have any heartburn with regards to that timetable, at least initially? Now, I will preface this with things with the RTAP and maybe even comp plan are going to start moving pretty quickly, pretty soon. With that being said, there could be some special meetings, and we will obviously reach out to you to make sure that the date works. But just because it's every other doesn't mean necessarily that we can't have a special meeting if needed. So just want to throw that out.
I like the cadence of every other month, with the option to gather if content is there. That way we're not coming together with a very light agenda and you guys taking time out to.
You will get information. We will try not to inundate you. I'm not a big fan of 100-page plus packets, but I think it is appropriate to start off in this direction, and then we can amend as needed.
And just every other month.
Starting this month, so the next meeting would be let's see, 23rd of October.
Yeah.
October and then December.
What is that date in December?
It is, I'm looking right now. In December, it would be the fourth Thursday.
Yes.
That sounds like
2, 3.
Christmas.
That's Christmas Day.
All right, well, that's fine. I'm gonna be with my family. I'd rather be maybe with you guys.
Do we want to do it?
We'll reschedule that date. We'll take a look at the calendar. We'll put that out for you.
The next one, so October would be the 23rd.
Correct. And then at that meeting, we will set a meeting for December.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm thinking that, we have a finite window of opportunity to see trails and get out on the trails. And I think it's very important that we get an inventory of the trails. So at least I and all of us can start getting out there and seeing the trails. And so it seems like something that we need to consider.
Excellent point. What we are doing is we are currently, and I believe I mentioned this at our first meeting, we are currently in negotiations and working on an IGA with the county. The county holds a lot of that information because it used to be county.
What's an IGA?
Oh, I'm sorry, intergovernmental agreement.
Okay.
And we're getting close, but they have a lot of data with regards to, number one, where all the trails are, two, how the ownership or dedication that it came in. Some could be outright dedication, some could be easements, some could be HOA agreements. The gamut's pretty big, I suspect. I believe we're going to get that pretty soon with regards to that. Jennifer is working with the county attorney to develop that IGA. And I think I'm crossing my fingers that we're going to get that raw data over in a form that we can utilize to start doing some evaluation. Now, with that being said, I have no problem whatsoever with regards to doing some evaluation, taking some analysis from the group with regards to problem areas or connections that don't exist. But I hope to get you a map very, very soon with regards to what is ours and what we can utilize. Part of the RTAP process did a site visit and certainly did some base information with regards to that. And in addition to that, we did on the side a connectivity plan. We retained SCE Group, not associated with the comp plan, but a separate study. It was somewhat specialized with regards to connectivity along Highway 6. We all realize that it's not great. So they did a study. They finished it. We've looked at it preliminarily, but it's somewhat isolated with regards to the Highway 6 corridor. And with that being said, they did look at connections that go to the south and north sides of the highway. But we can certainly look at that as well. So that could be useful. And as soon as I get the okay to release it, I will.
Lindsay, we have 2 goals assigned to this group currently. And so like any work that we would be conducting should in theory ladder up to those 2.
Sure.
Which is like the connectivity that you spoke of, and then the amenity stewardship and development. And so I'm just curious, like, to your question, Tom, of like, do we need to do an inventory of everything? If we're trying to ladder up to these initiatives, there's like a pretty targeted approach I think we could take pretty quickly before winter's upon us.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, those initiatives from our RTAP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Jess and I spoke briefly on this, and we're still trying to get our head around how to utilize this group as well as we can. And I believe we're thinking, at least initially, of breaking you up into groups. And to finish that thought.
Well, I guess we could back up for a second, because I think you all had the opportunity to at least like take a look at the memo I sent about the summary of that really long RTAP plan. And I guess the idea is how would be best to move forward and what should be the priority? And so I think, Alan, you made a good point that the window of time to go do trail inventory and start looking into things is, you know, closing in. So maybe there's like a time priority related, but we do want to, I guess, hear your thoughts. What of these actions stood out? What seems like the best thing to start with? And if there's clearly different pieces that need to start moving at the same time, maybe it would be best to have smaller groups start to work on each of those rather than attacking all of it as one at a time.
Just to clarify, like when we're talking about this group, are we just talking about trails and open spaces that the town of Keystone is responsible for? Like, because there's White River National Forest, there's Summit County, like what? So that's my first question is,
So it's an
what
excellent
are
question.
we focusing on?
So it's an excellent question.
And is that where that inventory comes in?
As far as White River National Forest, we don't have any jurisdiction, obviously. That's the USFS. But with that being said, trailheads that are located within our town limits, which I believe we are going to look at seriously, will certainly be looked at. So I think in a general sense, you could come up with some goals and policies in relation to the USFS, but you know, we don't have jurisdiction. So a goal might be cooperatively work with the USFS and the county for that matter with regards to these issues.
And also things like how do we connect trails in town better to the greater network?
Right.
I think that's a key point because we're interfacing with several local land managers and connection is a goal, right? So connecting and making those recommendations on how we can collaborate or what we would encourage our other land management partners to do is within your scope to make recommendations on.
Yep. And interestingly enough, and I've never really encountered this anywhere else, I believe that some of our trails, I know some of our trails cut through private property and HOAs and things like that, which is quite interesting from a regulatory standpoint. But again, we're going to have an inventory real soon on who has what. But that would be another layer. The rec path, that would be obviously a portion of it right now, goes through Mountain House neighborhood that currently is still in the county. So that would involve some coordination with the county.
What I see other land managers around here doing is working out easements. If one organization is trying to take the point on a trail or a collaborative development on the trail, there may be a need to have easements. For example, the incline trail that starts right there and goes across here, it goes across this private property, then it goes across Vail Resorts private property, and then it hits the Forest Service. And there's another trail back behind West Hills that the Furlough Trail includes Forest Service, County Open Space, and Keystone Open Space. So there's a lot of need for cooperation, easements, and collaboration coordinating your plans.
And I'm very cautiously optimistic that this group will set the tone for that spirit of cooperation.
One of my favorite hikes here in Keystone is, it starts at the gondola. Oh, not the gondola, the chairlift in River Run. Runs by the ponds.
I got that.
Then goes up to Gary Miller's
Jorgen Mustache.
cabin. So this is then, and then behind the outhouse at Gary Miller's cabin, which has been trashed, unfortunately. There's the trail that leads up to the cabins, okay? And then there's the switchback that leads up to the mines. And then you can get onto the ridge line and go to the top of Independence. So following what you said, Aaron, there's Keystone property, okay, behind those ponds. Then you literally go through Durkin's Dash, that new community. There's a trail there, and it links up with the Alders Trail.
The Nature Trail.
And then it goes to private property, Gary's area. And then there's lots of national forest past Gary's property. In fact, I think it all is.
Oh, yeah, and then county open space
Oh,
just bought
there's-
the Idabel mine.
That's right, that's right. I read that like 3 years ago. They acquired it, or 4 years ago.
3 days ago, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the complexities are there.
I wanted to make a comment. Since we probably all have our favorite trails and areas, I'm wondering if it's feasible if folks could take, maybe geographically we split up the entire area. Maybe people have areas they would like to really focus on, if that might be an option.
I don't see why not.
I think that's a good idea. I would suggest that we command a relatively small area here, and it wouldn't be a huge lift to say that at least the parts of those trails within the jurisdiction of Keystone. Not speaking about, I mean, if you're going all the way to the top of Independence, there's all day, or in my case, all night the other night. I think there's a benefit to you all providing advice and votes to actually have been on the ground that you're voting on, because I can say there are other open space groups in this county that have voted for actions on trail networks that they have never set foot on, and I don't really approve of that.
So,
hello, can I provide maybe a suggestion that might allow us to move forward with some of these ideas? It seems to me that we need a little bit of direction in the group to kind of get all the, I think everyone here has a ton of ideas of improvements that we can provide. If we facilitate this in a manner that we can get all those ideas kind of on the table, almost like a virtual collective brainstorming session. So we just allow everyone to surface the ideas, the challenges, the issues, but in a way that we can then group and prioritize them. And then what we could do is then set up task force by geography to go work those. It seems like we just kind of need some kind of guidance on structure on how to put all this great energy to use.
I think that was Ted.
I like that a lot.
Ted, I agree with you. The memo, the RTAC memo sort of started leading in that direction with regards to priorities. And I believe we are going to get there. We just aren't quite there yet.
Can someone scroll through the document there just so we can see it all?
Yes.
Because maybe this would facilitate that.
Yeah, I think it does. I just wanted to say there's also a commonality that I'm hearing and seeing among the action steps. Within the first two steps of actions 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, as well as 4.2, it's all about kind of identifying, utilizing the inventory, as Lindsay was mentioning, but also identifying the existing trails and the maintenance issues and the priorities that we would place upon them. So I feel like if we just sort of I'm just throwing this out there, that if we just sort of looked at the first steps of each of those and see what we could do that would, as you were saying, geography based, what we could do just sort of to step into those goals.
So along those lines, when we advertised for this board, I geographically put all of you on there. And I have to say that for the most part, we've had a couple people leave, but for the most part, geographically, you're pretty dispersed with regards to where you live. So you know that area in which you live pretty well. So I do want to tell you that there was some forethought with regards to selecting the board, so.
I see something that I didn't see when I looked at it before. And goal number 1, it says improve also transit. In what capacity? Is that like?
There was a lot of community support about improving transit. I'm not sure that it necessarily pertains to what we're doing, but the context for that was increasing transit that helps people connect better to trails, to the rec path, to different neighborhoods in Keystone. And so it was included in the overall goal of physical connectivity and safety. Talked a lot about safety along Highway 6, since that is a really important, very important to people, and also a huge impetus for the town becoming a town. So trails is included in a lot of goal 1, trail related work, as it's connectivity based, but we probably won't look at transit here.
I think you might look at transit in a more expansive view. One, you can commute on trails, and people do on the bike path. I know quite a few people who commute to and from Dillon using the Oro Grande Trail network, because it's a relatively low climb opportunity to get off the bike path. And you could also point out, hey, we've got this trail, but there's no real way to get there by foot or bike safely because there's currently not a bike path or a footpath. So you could make a recommendation to the council, hey, that's something that you should address to support the connectivity in transit.
It's a good example.
Something that I think about with transit too is the walkability. There's a lot of areas in town that there's not a good sidewalk access to get to said bus stop and those sorts of things. And so I do think in that regard, that does relate to what we are working on here.
Yeah, I think the key word is, the vision here was, the key word is connectivity, and that there are so many different ways to recreate and use trails as connections. And so that's why trails are a part of the greater transit network. We're not going to look at like bus routes, but absolutely commuting via trails, bike paths, things like that.
By the way, that element will be part of the comp plan, and as part of the SE comp plan study, we have retained a transportation related company that is looking at that very issue.
Yeah, Highway 6 on the east end needs a better way for people to cross. That's obvious for anyone that's been here any length of time, either a tunnel or a bridge.
We're pretty aware of that one.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we looking for tonight, Jess, as far as priorities and the input for all the actions and the various steps? Do you agree with these, or are we out of order? This is a good starting place for us. Well, if we don't hear differently, this is the direction we're going to go. And not that we can't backtrack, but we thought that this was a logical order in which to attack these issues. Yes. Anything else on that one?
I think, yeah.
Can I ask a question, like for the playgrounds, like parks and playgrounds? If, like, I know I live over at Lakeside and there's a playground and nobody really knows who it is and who's supposed to maintain it. And, and it's something that in almost all the different various HOA, they all get upset about the condition of who's taking care of it. If we get to things like parks and playgrounds, can we also do something to get like people to sponsor them, like companies or businesses to help pay for those kinds of things? Does that fall under this, or where would that sort of a thing to go? We're gonna assess stuff first. And then when we get to the improvement portion of it, is there any way to, privatize or have people sponsor a trail, have people sponsor their favorite trail if you love the Oro Grande Trail and your company wants to do that? I mean, is there any way to do that, or does that, or no?
Careful on the Oro Grande, that's not in my jurisdiction.
Okay, well, okay.
Yeah.
On the parts or even parts of the rec path or something like that.
I mean, you could adopt trails outside of our jurisdiction through a volunteer basis, but that doesn't put them under our jurisdiction. That would be an individual.
Yeah, you'd have to probably go through OSAC.
Well, Oro Grande is interesting because it's Forest Service mostly, except for where it passes through.
Town of Dillon.
And Town of Dillon, but
Yeah. So the answer is yes. You would start, just like you said, inventory, analysis, where are other locations that don't currently exist that might be appropriate? That's where you'd start. You're jumping to kind of the end of how are we gonna make this happen? Yes, the answer is yes. It's just we need to do the other parts first in order to prioritize and figure out how to accomplish, implement those goals.
And I will say that though no part of RTAP is mandatory, it is totally open to be changed based on what the needs are. Every step of the way is outlined in way more detail than I put in this memo, including here are exact grants you can fill out. This is an exact person to email who will help you do this. Like the steps are really, really meant to take as much load off of those implementing as possible. So if we get to a point where we're like, we really need funding in order to be able to pursue this goal, it's possible that we've outlined it in the RTAP already in the plan.
I think you did ask an interesting question that kind of goes back to the whole idea of a lot of the land here is not necessarily public. The town of Keystone owns almost nothing. There's a lot in our jurisdiction, but because the town was established last, we have so little. So when you come up with examples like the playground, I mean, if there's a lot of opportunity for individuals with the encouragement of this group and notification of the council or thumbs up from the council to do things and go out and find what is the answer there, and are there interested parties, and bring solutions and bring people together and organize the community around a solution to make that work. I'm pretty sure that you would find the council pretty receptive to actions like that. And I think that's what them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to offer suggestions, you're going to advise, we're going to bring those up to council. Council's the muscle. They're the ones that can actually implement and find out ways to get these things done. So, but I can guarantee you this group will be heard.
And we have bandwidth limitations on council. So if you do like legwork and bring forth a solution that's ready to go, instead of saying, hey, council, we think you should do this, then it gets put on our priorities list somewhere, right? Versus if you come with like, hey, this could work if you say yes. Then the council can take an action instead of having to ask staff to do legwork that when they're already saturated.
I have a question along those lines. one of the trails that I'm interested in is on the south side of the Snake River between the lakeside and the science school. And so it's all private ownership there. It's a social trail, a nice social trail. What would be the process for, you know, dealing with the landowners? How would that proceed?
So assuming that that is a social trail in its entirety, I'm not sure it is, I'd have to look at that. But basically, there are no legal mechanisms in place to allow public access across. It has just occurred over the years. But again, part of this inventory we're going to get is, I think in some situations, easements have been given, but we're going to find out more. And then to answer your question is, we would have to approach the individual property owners to formalize public access.
And keep in mind that that process can be fraught. If you recall all the articles in the paper about closures to access to some of the 14ers where the well-established trails crossed private landowner, and there was a liability issue that basically had to be resolved at the state level before they could be reopened. No, not specifically to those, but just.
That's why I was asking,
think about
because I know there was a lot of, yeah, that's why I
Think
was
about the
asking.
can of worms before it gets opened is what I'm trying to say.
Jennifer, did I say anything that upset you?
Nothing. Yes, you're good.
What about
Say
me?
nothing yet?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I
No, there are a lot of legal issues associated with using private property. Lindsay's absolutely correct that we do need to wait and see what we get from the county in terms of that inventory. Maybe there are easements, but yeah, that Lindsay was actually absolutely correct.
Actually?
Was absolutely correct. Absolutely.
What is a social trail?
I'm sorry?
What is a social trail?
A social trail is a trail that just sort of happens over time.
Okay.
I mean, they've got signs there and there's also, it's a nicely done trail.
And it doesn't allow bites.
Doesn't
Okay,
allow
I know-
bites,
I
which
know
is
the one
great.
you're talking
How
about.
close?
My property line goes across that trail, technically, like my property line, I live on that, trail, I back to it.
So does your property go all the way to the river?
It goes about
Okay.
60
All right,
feet
so
to the river.
Ashley will be one of the first people to actually do a dedication to the town.
Lead by example.
Build on that. So Ashley,
Thank you.
Everyone who lives there, I don't think anybody, it's just sort of, it's been that way. I don't think anyone sees that as their property. I think everyone loves that trail,
They absolutely do, and it is truly a social trail to the best of my knowledge. But that would be an example of maybe, solidify that trail to make sure that, it allows public access.
And then maybe you also protect the landowners.
That is, identification, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, that would be a good example.
So I want to reiterate my suggestion because I think this illustrates the great ideas that we have and where we want to put our focus. Is there a way that we can organize it through these actions? Step one is to identify, step two is identify maintenance issues and priorities. Can we maybe set up a forum where we can each submit ideas and vote on them? And then we can just accelerate the group's collaboration on coming up with these ideas and things that we can work on together. I would volunteer to go find a tool to do that if that's of interest to the group.
I like that idea. I think it gets us moving.
Okay, I have a suggestion. We have 4 objectives up there. There's 12 of us here. Why not break up into groups of 3? Each group of 3 takes one of the objectives. And I would be willing to work outside of the meetings, monthly meetings to do, because there's a lot of collection, a lot of visiting, a lot of other things that we can do as a small group versus a large group like this.
Jennifer,
Yeah.
Jennifer, does that pose problems with sunshine at all? Sunshine laws? And
So you can definitely set up committees if you wanted to have committees tackle these different action items here. The committees would have to meet in a public space, and you'd have to allow the public to attend. And you would also, best practice would be to notice the meetings in advance. So provide 24 hours advance notice of when you're meeting.
So part of what you got in distributed to you tonight is touching on that issue. We don't want the group to start doing things individually. I'm not saying it would be, but we need to be cognizant of the fact of doing things without the public. So let us put some thought into that issue. Ted, I hear you loud and clear with regards to maybe some software, if you will, to assist the group with regards to some of these endeavors. Am I reading you right?
Oh, you're on mute.
That is on mute.
Ted, you're on mute.
Ted, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I've been on trails committees before. I'm just trying to give you some best practices that I've found that have worked. I do think, smaller committees are good, but we need the collective insight, and there's so much knowledge in this team, and I'm just trying to tap that knowledge and give us a mechanism that'll allow us to collaborate better in between meetings, so that, because the absence of that, what I've seen is you meet once a month, you review your meeting minutes from the previous meeting, you talk about your agenda for this current meeting, and then you plan for the meeting or the action items for the next meeting, and very little gets done because you only have that one meeting. But if we could have some vehicle that will allow us to flesh these ideas out collectively, group them, prioritize them, I think we can start moving on things, and then we also provide great transparency to the town of what we're doing.
And Ted, I think there is something there with regards to that. I just don't want board members to be talking individually without the public input. So if what you're saying is a mechanism in order to prioritize and gather information somehow, and then bring it collectively into the public setting, I would be okay with that.
That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, I just can't have you calling each other and having a perception by the public that this one group has this one priority. I don't want that. I can't have that. It would jeopardize the integrity of getting the public input.
When you're saying mechanism, are you talking a software? I mean, what's this vehicle that we're talking about? I don't understand.
I don't know. We've used different tools in the past. I'd just go, if someone wants to go, there's a ton of things out there that'll collect ideas and allow you to group them. I mean, we could do it in a spreadsheet. It could be as simple as that, right? It doesn't have to be sophisticated. It's just like, let's just think of a way to collect that so that we all can kind of get our ideas out on the table and then start grouping them and working them.
So then it would be like a task out of this meeting, that for next meeting, so it's public, that you come with certain ideas or something like that and put it in a spreadsheet? So that involves the public? Is that how this works?
I think what I'm hearing is that there's two ways we could do this. One is we figure out the right mechanism so that here in this public meeting, everybody can contribute ideas, and we'll have a public way of grouping them and figuring out the best way to move forward. Or we need to figure out the best way without violating open meeting law to have everybody be able to collaborate outside of this meeting on putting all of their ideas in one place, which we don't have an answer for right now. Is that right?
That's what I garnered from this.
Just a thought, I'm trying to wrap my head around where to start. It seems like it's really hard to start until we have the map of all our trails inventory.
Yeah.
So, and you said not be coming soon, just an idea, would it be, I'm just thinking out loud, like if, when you have the inventory, let us know, and maybe we can have another meeting if we're time sensitive, and then we can see stuff, and then we can divide up and conquer from there.
And I honestly do believe that within the next month, hopefully less, we will have the ability to get that data.
Because
I can't promise you because, you know, it's not hard data right now.
Because
So-
I'm guessing what's in the town is not all that much.
Say it differently for me.
What we'd have to cover in these paths that's owned by the town or the interconnection.
I don't know yet, to be honest.
Okay, well, that's,
I know some of it is pretty convoluted. Some of it's not. So I can't answer that quite yet with regards to that issue.
okay.
I apologize.
No, I'm just
And
thinking with all of it.
I have a question on the process along Ted's line. If our communication was one way, in other words, if we just submitted ideas and they go to some central pool or Jessica or someone is handling that, and then at the next meeting, we would see that, is that kosher or
Yes.
not? Is that, so we're not talking to each other, we're just submitting things.
That's what I was thinking, as far as a one way, that way you're not influencing each other. That was my initial thought. I don't know how to do that. The good news moment is Jessica is much younger and knows how this thing works a lot better than I do. So with that being said, that really is, that was my initial thought, to garner the information individually and then bring it to the public setting, which would be your meeting.
And I can set that up so that people can submit just to me or just to me and Lindsay ideas or suggestions on how best to move forward. And I can compile that so that we can review the results together in the next meeting.
Great.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Jessica, can you just send out a kind of a format, how you would like us to submit that to you, just so it's consistent and you can absorb it easier?
Yeah, I am considering using like a survey type format so that I'm not filtering through a lot of emails. But I will send a summary after this meeting with information about that, so you know what to do.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
So then would it make sense to
Thank you.
split ourselves into 4 groups at this point then?
I guess that's up to you all. Do you think that would be a good way to move forward, or do you want to wait until we have more information?
I think the split up should be next time, once all the ideas are out, so that each individual can identify with what they're most passionate about. Like maybe an idea someone puts in is like, oh man, didn't think about that. Like I have this background and could tackle it that way. And that way feedback, can be given on all 4 parts.
I agree.
Jessica, have you ever used Mural?
No.
Maybe we could chat after this, because it's a really neat way of doing group activities and being
Okay.
productive about it.
I would definitely want to hear about how to use it.
Town is certainly open-minded with regards to utilization of software that would help discuss. Hear that, Ted? That's what she said.
And we have GIS software.
Read my mind.
It's only available for one user, which is me at the moment. But if we get to a point where we want to start creating a project that shows a map of findings or things like that, it's available and can be done.
Do we have ArcGIS or what?
Yeah.
And by the way, the data that we're going to get, at least in part, no, will be coming over in that form.
Thinking in the future of what we would recommend as far as specific trails to hike. This trail right out here, elevation trail?
Incline.
Oh, incline, sorry, incline. If you go up it just 30, 40, 50 feet, it hooks off to the right.
To Tenderfoot.
That connects over to that bike trail. That is a black bike trail. It's kind of steep, but it goes through the aspens and then into evergreens and then leads through the power line onto the old logging road, which if you follow the logging road all the way up to the top, a trail is there that'll then lead you to tree line and you can get up on the ridge line. And what's cool about that, and I've sent you a picture, is there are a couple of lakes up there. And having those lakes in the foreground and Keystone in the background, it just makes an incredible picture. Would we be able to actually put together that as a route, as one of our finished products in the future, if it goes through so much national forest land? Now you're probably going to say, well, Alan, your group is going to have to talk to the National Forest Service.
To 10.
You could call it a route, but it's not our route.
Yeah.
It's a route we can recommend.
Yes.
And it could be
And is that okay? Is that okay with the Forest Service?
That we recommend trails? I can't see how the Forest Service would object to us recommending existing trails to the public.
That are
I
there.
would certainly say that there are existing, individuals that make trail maps, Summit County Hiker's Guide, all of those kinds of things. I can't imagine that, that there's predecessors that have done things like that. It may not be a town of Keystone kind of thing, but it could be an individual citizen.
I can tell you that my opinion is that this whole mountain here is underutilized.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, those are your priorities now. You could have mid-ground priorities. Right now, you don't, your budget is somewhat limited, but if you look at what other open space groups do, they acquire land. And that could be your future. And if you look at what certain other town open spaces do, Frisco and Breck, they have special use permits with the Forest Service, the same type of permit that the ski areas operate. And that's how Frisco Peninsula works. That's how the Breck Trail Network works. And they use budgets to develop within the confines of that special use permit trails on Forest Service land that are maintained and built by the town within those limits. In Aaron's little fantasy future, we get a special use permit for everything underneath Frey Gulch Road and build all sorts of trails right here.
And well, there are lots of trails up there.
There'll be more.
There's probably gonna be more, yeah.
And they could be maintained with, and built with more purpose, I think.
Which, again, this group will come up with goals and policies that will set that stage. Now, will that make it like we can do it right away? Absolutely not. It'll set the stage in order to develop, if council agrees, to approach the appropriate parties, in this case, most likely the USFS, to broach that topic of a special use permit or other mechanism in order to accomplish that. So I'm just trying to tell you, your job is, at least initially, big picture and where what are those goals, and we will get to how to implement them, at least to offer to council to consider.
Great.
Okay, awkward silence, good. So I think the last I heard is we're not going to break up into groups quite yet. Again, if we miss something or if you want to add, email myself or Jessica, and we can certainly amend this. But I think we have some direction. You will be getting some additional information. And I said, this is your first meeting. I feel like I'm going to say this at all your meetings. I commend you for wanting to do this. I know you're anxious. I know there was a lag, but we will be getting going. Okay, I promise. In fact, there will be a point in time where you're like, really? I have to read all of this? So, but we're not quite there yet.
The inventory is so important.
I got to get that because I need to know what I'm working with.
Yeah.
You need to know what
I know what you meant.
All right. Well, that's all we had, I believe. Jennifer, I always like to do a check-in with you. Did I cause you any heartburn or stray?
You're all good. You and Jessica do a great job.
I always want to check with the attorney, make sure I didn't do anything bad. Now, with that being said, unless, are there any other items you'd like to talk about tonight?
Just my question is, we do get the inventory soon?
I truly hope so.
Within the next month.
Well, can we have a,
Jennifer and I are pushing for it.
no, I believe that. That's,
Mechanism in order to get it, and once we
that's
get
not,
that mechanism in place, it's a push of a button to get the.
yeah, I'm not questioning that. My questioning is if we get it soon, are people interested in having another meeting prior to 2 months away?
So you can actually go look at the.
Yeah.
That's a good
Are you
idea.
able to send it out to us digitally or is it not gonna?
Well,
I guess that depends how we get it.
well, I mean, we're gonna get in GIS format and we can PDF it, but I don't know if, until the IGA's actually executed, I don't know what kind of parameters would come with it yet.
But a meeting can be called in between. There's no reason why.
Absolutely. We can do a special meeting.
Great.
All right. Kalina, you ready?
Oh, I haven't read my-
Major, action. You ready to, adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, I gotta read my quick notes here. No, I move to close the meeting.
Second.
Is anyone second?
All in favor?
Say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we'll get better at that.
That was pretty good. That was really good.
Nailed it.
That's great.
Good job, good job.
All right. Well,
Great
thank
meeting,
you all.
everyone.
Thank
We'll
you.
be in touch.
Thank you.
And, appreciate, all the effort and we'll get going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Added another meeting to get us life.
Yes.